Hello, it is Lord Haywire. I'm streaming some 2D4X today, which I do on most weekends. 2D4X is a strategy game that I'm making. It's open source. It's in Godot. I gotta click this button over here. It's inspired by Paradox Games and Dominions. We are working on these faction. I was waiting for this thing to appear. This faction and this diplomacy button. Man, I had a thought about this. We need to fix that, obviously. Then there's the research. I think we should cover this up. Maybe have a different top panel. I don't know. It's not that important right now, but so we just got these panels to appear, these blank panels. These are a copy of the research one. Man, I played this game last night. This has nothing, it just popped into my mind. Spell, what is that name? IO Spellcasters, IO, something like that. I don't know, it's on Steam. I guess I can look. My Steam, this computer is so close to death. Spellforced Conquest of EO. Anyways, all their buttons and stuff are in the bottom left, like to close in the bottom left, and I found it so fucking annoying. I don't know what made them think to, you know, if you're on a Mac, your shit's on the left, and if you're on Windows, it's on the right and the upper. I don't know what made them think bottom left. It kind of made me want to like rethink where this close button is here, because it's strange that they did that. And so every single time my mouse would start to go, I would start to, you know, go to the upper. Oh, nope, it's over here. I played it for, I don't know, how long did it say that I played it for? 53 minutes. No, I didn't. It seemed fine. It just, I don't know. It seemed fine. The graphics were really good on it. I was actually pretty surprised at how good the graphics were, but it just seemed fine. Here, let's get this out of here. We don't need this up over here. So let's take a look at this panel. I hate that this thing. Oh yeah, that was the first thing we're gonna do. We need to up this to RC1. I really hate whether this flashes all the time. I wish they would go back to how they did it before, where it didn't flash all the time. RC1. We're almost to a stable version of 4.5. Then we'll stop updating for as long as possible, and then we'll run into some problem that we'll have to update, just like we did with 4.4. So I was thinking a little bit about this and what we're going to put here, and I kind of also feel like this faction button should be over here. Once again, it doesn't really matter that much right now, but it is something that we probably want to fuck with at some point and make it like faction is next to speed. I don't know. These are all things that I overthink, and then I waste a bunch of time overthinking it, you know. Okay, so the main thing that we're working on right now is diplomacy. So let's start putting the things. We need like a matrix. That's what I've been calling it, as a matrix for war, where it shows all the factions and if you're at war with them or not, and ability to declare war. It's going to be very simplistic right now. We're going to add on to it later. I want to make big changes to. We're going to need our whatchamacallit up here. I want to have diplomacy be one of the major changes, how diplomacy works. I feel like Paradox Games and Dominions doesn't really have diplomacy. And I think that that's one of the things that's really lacking in strategy games. I for some reason, I can't talk and find this file. In this day and age is a lack of good and improved diplomacy. It's been the same since 1992. All right, what the fuck are we putting here? This should now be called diplomacy title label. And I think we put a word in here. It should just be word diplomacy, but just in case I made some weird choice. We definitely, if you're a Godot person and you're having issues, it's with weirdness. It often adds that extra thing in there. All right, so we'll probably do it. We can adjust it with a theme. The thing is, like, you kind of want to know what these resources are when you're in your diplomacy panel. But then, like, these buttons make it seem like you can click on stuff. So maybe we could have a panel that covers up the speed part, or move this over. We hide this slides over, and then you could click on these ones. That's probably a good idea. Let's put that in as a note. We'll put it right here. Hide the speed in the top bar when diplomacy, research, and factions is shown, and then make it so you can click on the other buttons on the top bar. I'll create this thing. I'm listening to the fuck is the name of this band? The Murder City Devils. For a while, my roommate and all of his friends like love this band. Man, they really love this band, and they're okay. They like made their life all about them. Jesus Christ, this project thing sucks on GitHub. Maybe it's this computer. This computer is so fucked. If I rebooted it, sometimes won't come out, but I have to reboot it like 5 times. Okay, what the fuck were we doing? So let's see. Assign researcher title. We probably don't need that. We need this VBox. What does this actually say? Assigned researchers. Let's look at this again. This is for diplomacy, so it's going to have a list of assigned researchers there. That's what we copied over. So we'll have the title that says diplomacy. We don't need that. We'll get rid of that. And we don't need a grid container. It looks like there's a VBox with this stuff in here. We'll delete this one. We'll delete that one. Then we have a scroll container. We could do a scroll container. We don't need this VBox if this is the case. We can just delete this VBox. These are the different tiers. And then we have our close button. Let's do we'll call it war matrix, because right now we're like I said, we need to get some certain stuff going before we can do other things. Like, we run into this all the time where it's the cart before the horse. I don't know what the fuck it's called. We need to do certain stuff to get other things to go, and then we need to come back later. And that's kind of how I've been programming the whole game, is do each little thing is most basic, and then we come back later and keep adding and keep going around. When I say around, like around the programming, adding and adding and adding. And as we add and we add things more complicated, we have to change older things. We go back and rewrite all the code. It's part of the learning process for me. So I think what we'll do, we could do a grid inside this scroll container, or we can do an HBox. What it's probably going to look like would be, well, I mean, there's nothing here. We'll do like it'll just be splat in the middle. It'll have a list of all of the factions besides yours. And then another column. So I'll have a column that says if you're at war or not, and then a button to declare war. So we just need 3 columns. We can do we'll do a HBox, I think, which we already have here. We'll delete this shit. I don't know. What is this? A VBox container? We'll delete that. Yeah, HBox, and then in the HBox, we're gonna need. No, we need a VBox in there. right? Then each thing in a VBox will have an HBox inside the VBox. I guess I could have dragged that down. If you're working in the UI, I always say just add HBoxes and VBoxes. They'll solve everything. So we're gonna need a label, and then we're gonna need another label, and then we're gonna need a Then we're gonna need a button. This is the very basics of. So this will be factions, faction name, label. This is the very basics of the diplomacy. We're going to have a lot different. At war label, and then declare war. We probably should have an ability to end the war. We could use the same button. Let's make it so we can see this thing. This looks beautiful. So we have our margin container, we have our panel container inside there, we have our title. What is this thing doing? So I had, it looks like another margin container. I don't know if we need that. Diplomacy panel container. What if we put this right here? Oh, I know what I was doing. Okay, we do need this. I see. You go in here again. Yeah, so this is going to be inside. Looks like there's two of them, though. Is this? That's that one. Where'd that other margin container go? Here it is. The diplomacy panel. I wonder if we can do Joker. He comes into chat sometimes. Single Wings, how's it going? He was mentioning that there's a margin setting already in the panel container or something. We're Single Wings. We're doing the part that you love the most, which is the UI. I actually saw something on Reddit where they were talking about the UI, and it was interesting because it seemed about equal of people who hated it and people who loved it. And there was some people who were basically saying that it's designed in they didn't use this term, but like a 4D chess type of way. Like you're designed in like this special like thought process, and then other people were like, no, it's designed by somebody who's never designed a UI before. So yeah, there's definitely some I think it's strange to work with. It's definitely like, I don't have any other experience though with other yeah, I don't see a margin container in here. And like everything feels like a workaround, but I mean it's what I got, and I feel like I've gotten somewhat good with it, but Jesus Christ, like this margin container. So the idea I think behind this here, that I have all these margin containers, is so that I am not going over this word, but there's another way we could do it with an HBox, and I'm wondering if that would be easier. I mean, it would be. Just, it's always a VBox. The solution is always HBoxes and VBoxes. All right, so here's the whole panel. Let's just do a VBox here. And then we put you up here. No, we put you right here. We put you here. We say, fuck that thing. This goes here. Now they're all underneath this thing. Then we have another VBox. What is this? Okay, that's a scroll container. I don't know why there's these two little lines. You know, it's kind of interesting too how passionate people get about stuff. What I mean is, we want to do. Wait, this is a HBox container, or yes, no, a box container. I think it's an HBox container. Center. This happens with video games too. People get like really passionate about some dumb shit. We fill, expand. I'm doing something wrong here. We need some garbage in here. We need this to say, like, it's people will decide to defend something until the end of their life, and I don't understand it. Sometimes they'll pick something that they just want to love. Oof, that looks bad. We're gonna change this. We're gonna want to sort this at some point. So I think we should make this first thing all buttons. Actually, let's make these all buttons. They'll look better. Then we'll make a different thing we'll instantiate the things below them. And also, now that I think about it, I don't want this to stretch across. We're gonna use this margin container to like smush this into the middle. This will be faction name sort button. I don't know. And then this will be deleted. And then this will also be a button. This will be the @war sort button. Do we have the word war in here? I bet you we don't. I probably would have been word war. Yeah, we don't. So let's add that. Get the fuck out of here. Word war. War? Translate. Era. Yeah, when I used to stream on my other channel, I'd be streaming a game that, I never played before, and so I streamed a ton of indie games, and sometimes I would just find like some game that kind of looked cool, and I would just stream it. Often that's what I would do, and it actually would take me forever to pick what game I was going to stream, and I was thinking about streaming the other night, and same thing. I like hated the picking the game, which is obviously on me, but people would come in. If I posted in the game's Discord, people would come in and defend this piece of shit game like it was the best thing that was ever made. And it used to kind of blow my mind that they would defend it so hardcore. This thing can go. And it was kind of interesting. So there was one guy who would come into chat all the time, and he just loved every single fucking game. He had no critical bones in his body, and it would annoy the shit out of me because it was just like, man, how can you say this game is good? This game is objectively, everyone should think this game is dog shit, And he'd be out there, he'd be defending it. We're gonna need two things here. We're gonna need a phrase, declare war. Phrase, declare war, and then declare war, question mark. Now we're gonna fuck ourselves here. We need to translate what's right here. Yeah. Also, any price. He would pay any price and love every game, and it was very strange to me. Phrase. End war? Right now, it's just going to be, so like end war will be, we're not going to have like diplomacy where you actually have to like be diplomatic in the war. The war is just going to end for this beginning part. This might be a little confusing now that I think about it. The interest of what is going on over here? Maybe we should change like the color of it or something. But we're going to start out with this saying declare war. All right, let's then, well, all three of these need to be on expand. Layout or something. Wage war? Wage war would work too. What is going on here? We need this to center. Go up here probably. No. What is your fucking problem? The problem is this V-box. See, this is where we get... Is V-box? Yeah. This is where we get into the weirdness of the... What is your problem? You're the not inside here? What are you in? You're in here. Are you not in here? You're in here. We want you to go like that. No. This is when you gotta fuck with it. You gotta go, what's going on? And then, oh wait, here we go. There we go. And then this one should expand, yeah. All right, we found the right button to click to fuck with it. But you know what we want here is another margin container. So this is not so gigantic. I mean, I guess it doesn't fucking matter right now. This is our diplomacy currently. Yeah, let's just go with this. Who gives a shit? It's fine because we're going to be adding tons of diplomacy stuff, diplomatic things later. This is just, we need this right now before we can move to the next step where we fix this other thing. Then once those things are fixed, we're going to add the saving of moving and saving of something else that I forgot. And then we'll push to main. So we're like 6 months from pushing to main. Yeah. I should probably push to main right today just so that it looks like work is being done on the game. Okay, so then what we're going to do is duplicate this, except we don't want these to be buttons, except it would be cool to have these as buttons. We're not going to do... This is actually probably shouldn't be a button right now. We'll make it a disabled button. This is going to look dumb, but whatever. We'll duplicate this thing. We're going to... We'll disable these because it would be nice to be able to click on that faction button and go to like the faction information. I've been playing some Victoria 3 again. I can't believe I have 400 hours in that game. I guess probably it's 440 hours, but in 400 of it is waiting for it to load, I would guess. I think the game takes fucking forever to load. I have no idea why no one rethought how they do things. On this computer, 20 minutes. 20 minutes to start the fucking game. Blows my mind. On my gaming computer, 3 minutes. Which is insane. And, you know, I decided to do I just keep rambling here. I decided to do an Iron Man game of Victoria 3 because I always save scum. And I literally ran into a bug right off the bat. And I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then just by coincidence, I saw once again on Reddit someone saying, don't ever do Iron Man on Victoria 3 because you're going to get fucked when something happens and you're going to have to go back. So now I save before anything major, but then try not to like save scum. And then but that means that I have all these save files, these bazillion save files, and they've filled up the cloud thing. So yeah, we'll leave that. The war button. This really should be a label. We'll leave it as a button as well, just in case we need it later. I don't know. We're gonna have to change all this shit around. I'm already seeing that. Then we'll have the declare war button. Yeah, who gives a fuck? This is fine. What would we do? So that one's gonna be definitely needs a button. What was the thing that wage war? I think what we're gonna need is phrase war status. War status. And then this will go in here. And yeah, you know, I was getting kind of demoralized. This will be the war on this one. It will say war status. Yeah. I was getting demoralized, and then I was thinking, I don't know, for some reason last weekend, I stopped being demoralized. Now I'm back to being demoralized. All right, war status, declare war. And then this thing is going to be our diplomacy matrix. Come on, fingers. Diplomacy matrix. Prefab? No, we don't use the term prefab. That's a Unity term. Scene. HBox. What do I say over in these other ones? This is a UI scene. Where are you, UI scenes? Scripts, scenes. We'll put war. Who gives a shit? That will be fine. And then we'll drag this into here. And then, thank you for suggesting that shitty name. Looks like, are we using spaces here? We are sometimes using spaces. Well done, Josh. Diplomacy matrix H box. Are we doing a little b or a big B? We're doing a big B. Container. All right, then we can delete this one. You like big. I'm reading between the lines here. I think I know what you're saying. I was watching so I watch that Burnt Peanut guy sometimes. He's definitely not politically aligned with me, and he's extremely offensive. But they have a person from Twitch that sits in his chat all the time. And I thought that was interesting that they have a person just sitting in his chat, like watching him all the time. Because he got banned once or something. Okay, so then do we have code? What did we decide? Okay? We made a script. I wasn't sure what we decided. Oh, nice. This is the first time I've ever seen this on Godot. Hey, what's this? Cause Java. I'm blaming this on you, Stinklewinks. That's the fuck is this? Java dot noi file access denied. A jar. You'll take it. Did it? What happened? This is the release candidate we just went up to here. What was that? Maybe that was unrelated to anything I was doing. I'm telling you, this computer is about to croak. Yeah, anytime I have any web issues and it's JavaScript, I'm always like, Stinklewink. For no reason. Of course, it's not your fault. But, it's just because JavaScript is, man, it is everywhere. I'm still kind of shocked at how slow the internet is. And I'm not talking about, I'm just talking about how slow web pages load. Like, every fucking web page is so slow now. It's like we forgot that they used to load as fast as you can click the buttons. Um, all right, let's see what this thing. I don't know what that error was, but we're beyond it now. Well, so we got some signals. It's yeah, and so the ads thing is interesting because I install an ad blocker on everyone's computer at my work, and I actually had someone say, hey, "Wait, can I install this at my house?" I don't think I've ever had anyone ask me that, and I was like, "Yeah, definitely." But there's a noticeable change in internet speed. Blocking ads does definitely help because it doesn't have to load all that crap. But yeah, it's the internet is. One of my friends is very he wants to like just get rid of the internet. He thinks it's a civilization ending thing, and I'm like, but I love the internet. I use the internet all the time. Um, we got to come with a compromise. Yeah, in the Facebook thing. Oh my god. Um, yeah, I agree. So sometimes I have to look at logs of what's going in and out of the office, like what traffic is going in and out of the office, and it always says everyone's on Facebook, but it's actually not Facebook. It's Facebook sending garbage to websites, like their logins, their Facebook ads, their Facebook shit. And so you'll be like trying to narrow something down, and I'll just be like, why was this person on Facebook all day? But in reality, it's like they're literally logging into some work website that offers like a Facebook login. And it's like, why would you log into this work thing with your Facebook thing? Yeah, no, that's a good way to. That's a good way to. We need something. I don't know. I always joke that we need a second internet that like is hidden from all the bots and stuff, because the bot thing's pretty insane too. Um, and so there's a, I think it's with DMARC. When you set up emails, there's something called DMARC. I think it's with this. I can't remember. But anyways, it sends you it's a way to cut back down on spam. But it sends out these status emails. Yeah. How Stallions put it in chat there. It sends out these status emails in the middle of the night, and it just blows my mind that in the middle of the night, there's just all these email servers communicating with each other, and they just go into the trash. It's like, what a waste of bandwidth. Because they don't do anything. They need a human to look at them. And you know what they do when they get to my inbox? They go in the trash. I actually created a special inbox just for them. And I mean, if you ever wanted to try to figure out why your DMARC was having issues, you would need them. But it's just so bizarre to me that there's this whole, it's happening right now as I'm talking. There's just all these emails being fired back and forth by, I think it's DMARC. I can't remember. All right, what the fuck are we doing here? So we need to have, first off, we have if visible, we need to generate diplomacy. We'll call it the war matrix for now, because that's all it is. It's only war. Well, like I said, this isn't necessarily temporary, but we're gonna be setting. This is gonna expand and get really convoluted, like everything that we do here. So we're gonna need up here. We're gonna need a packed scene or whatever the fuck it's called. Private packed scene. Look at this. Look at you, motherfucker. This underscore. What did we call this thing? Diplomacy matrix H box. That should be a lowercase, and then what I usually do is put the word scene at the end. Yeah, this song's pretty good. I was actually contemplating just having my music play the whole time, because I don't think it will have any effect on anything. Murder City Devils. Okay, so this is going to turn. Let's actually put this between after this. Yeah, and then so we're going to. We need to get a list. So do I still have that list? Because I did make some major changes. So let's look. We need our faction data here. I think we created it. I think I called it matrix something. Yeah, diplomacy matrix. It's a string and a bool. Excuse me? I'll never finish fixing these. I think they go back every time I load it. A string is probably the faction name. So my plan is to allow people to change their faction name after they start the game, and the county names, and that's actually, and so I keep pre-thinking about that. But then the problem is, if you have like a dictionary with a string name, it's gonna break them all. So we could use an ID, but then we got to look at this stupid ID. I guess we'll go with string for now. So we're gonna go through our diplomacy control. So we'll go for each whatever key value pair string bool. A bool? That's not gonna last. That's gonna be a enum or something at some point. There's no way there's just gonna be yes or no. It's gonna be war, peace, ally. Yeah, this is gonna be very temporary. The more I type in here, the more I see that this is gonna be very temporary. But we need this right now. We need this part right now. War. What is this? Faction war in player. How are we going to declare war with the AI? We need globals. Like, how are we going to make the AI declare war? Diplomacy matrix. What did I just fucking? Well, first off, we gotta put the right shit here. Oh, I moved this to auto load. I know. It's mad because I gotta add this in here. Did I put a namespace? I did. Diplomacy. Faction war dictionary. Okay, so then for each faction war dictionary, we need to, what is this thing? This is a what? It's an H box. H box container faction war. What the fuck? Fingers. Why are you, all right, whatever. H box equals instantiate, sorry, H box container instantiate. Why don't we have instantiate in here? This is what we want, but this doesn't exist. We cannot resolve this. So this is in a control. We can close this thing. Why do I not remember how to do this? I do this all the time. Instantiate. Oh, right. We put instantiate at the end. Good God. Um, literally just like forgot how anything works. And like I said, I've done this 100 times. Then we need to add this to a child. We need to add the child to something here. We're going to go export, private, control, hbox, container. Yep. And then we're going to go diplomacy. Yep. And then, but while we do that, we're going to also, oh, look, it did the little b over here. Just change it, you piece of shit. You know what the problem is. You wouldn't have told me that there was a problem if you didn't know what it is. Then we need to put this stuff. So each one of these, we actually need a script on. Yeah, we need a script on here. This was very diplomacy. I've given up like searching through my code most of the time, and I just start searching up here at this filter. I don't know why it's not a fucking search thing. I gotta complain about this again. We're gonna add a script on here. Do we need a script? You know what we could do is we could just wing it. Let's just wing it. Who gives a fuck, right? So what we can do, we know it's a button. We could get child and just whatever it. So we have, yeah, fuck it. We'll put a script on it. And, open up. I'm not doing it right. Add script, brain, not work. Scripts, UI, open, and then we're just gonna put some export things on here. No, we don't want to do that. I just remembered. So there's this weird thing that happens sometimes when you drag and drop things in here. Diplomacy, matrix, hbox container. That's okay. We're going to get rid of this. When you drag and drop things... Oh, we could have done it with that script, actually. Yeah, we should have done it with the script. And not dragged and drop things. Occasionally, and I don't know what the deal is. So if you have a thing you're instantiating and you drag things into the script that on the thing you're instantiating, for some reason, sometimes it gets confused on when you instantiate another one. So it like thinks that it's a different. I've been running into this a bunch of times. And so what I do instead of drag and drop is I just set all this shit on when it gets on ready. So we're gonna need a bunch of buttons. Button. We're gonna need a not exported. We're gonna need a namespace here. Button. What is the first button? I'm gonna move this over to my other screen. Faction. Name. Yeah, back to the demarc thing. It's almost like, so you know in video games they had limited space. Actually we want this to say button. They had limited space back in the day, so they did all this they tried to optimize everything. And now that they're like, well, everyone has all of these everyone's bandwidth is so fast that we might as well just use all bandwidth at all the time, and it just turned the internet into fucking garbage. Oh, you know what I didn't check ever? Let me check that this is actually working. Yes, yeah. So it like turned the internet into garbage. It feels like because they just we'll call this the declare war button, and then public override ready. I guess I'm just bitching and moaning today. That's the plan, just bitch and moan. Faction name. Look at that. It's suggesting that I get node. Eat my dick. Get child. It's close. 0. Faction war. Faction. So I did declare. I'm apologizing. I have another game that I worked on, and I did very few dragging and droppings of things, and this works fine. Occasionally you fuck shit up. Like it's the same. It's the same difference. If like if I was to run the game right now, it's gonna throw an error because I haven't dragged this shit over, and if the order is fucked up, it's the same difference. Like I said. So we have these things, we have these buttons, then we can go back to our thing here, and we can go diplomacy. This is actually not an H box anymore. This is a diplomacy matrix. We can't call it that. And we'll select this, we'll paste that. Oh, I guess we can call it that. No, we don't want to call it that. We'll call it like parent. Parent. Parent? No, what are we doing? Where's your parent? This is the parent. Parent. This is what we add the children to. Then we want the faction war H box here. I guess what we should do is we should just name it this and make this a little one. And then, yeah. Paste that there. Yeah, I'm back to, I think that like-minded people, we should leave Earth. We should just go move into space. Build a spaceship and leave. Go somewhere else. Just live in space. I mean, we can colonize Mars if we have to, but we don't need planets. Planets are for suckers. Let's see. So then for each one of these, we want to do faction, diplomacy button, faction name button. Why is this not populating with what I want? Because they're private. Because I want them to be public, and then faction name button text equals key. Why did I call it this? I always do key value pair. Key value pair, because it's easier for me to remember that I'm fucking with a dictionary thing. This is going to be the key, not the value. And then this is going to be the value. The value's a bool. You can't convert the bool to string? Okay. Whoops. And then the final thing will be if we're going to have to link this button to something. But right now we'll just test that everything else works. If the key value is equal to false, then we go, no, but this is close enough. Declare war button dot text equals. We need that translate thing too. That translate thing. I think it's TR. I haven't done it in a long time. Then you put this in quotes. I've done a lot of this shit. Okay, so this should else. I guess we can do an else. It's gonna tell me to get rid of this else and do like a return thing. Else. I preemptively got that. It was not what I needed. Here we go. Yeah, it's gonna tell me. See right here. It's gonna be like, nah, just do the return thing. Oh no, it didn't. It said do this. All right, that's fine. Who gives a fuck? I think I'm forgetting something, so let's run it. We gotta build it. Whoops. We gotta build it first because it's gonna bug out. I think I left the diplomacy screen showing too, so that's not gonna work. But now we gotta. It did not bug out, but it should have bugged out. We're gonna go. Maybe it just didn't work. So for here, oh, it also didn't translate this stuff, but that's because I haven't re-imported the thing. Diplomacy control. What did we generate? Matrix. We got to drag over these things. The matrix HBox container parent. You go in there, and then this thing. This, oh, I saved that to the wrong spot. This needs to go into scripts, UI. All right, we'll save this. We'll hide this. We'll hit this. You know, the diplomacy matrix, whatever, the war matrix, whatever the fuck I'm calling it, that thing could be blank at this point. We might have disabled how that thing works for when we were saving. I see now that it does work, except I think I have the wrong parent in here. It's making it a child of this. We needed it to be a child of this. This is a VBox. See, something like when I first started, something like that simple thing would have fucked me for hours. I would have been like, what? Now how do I fix it? Okay, not hours, but it would have been a stressful situation where I was trying to fix, because I didn't understand the H boxes, because it's very convoluted, I feel. I think I know what they're going for. They're going for, you know, like when you expand, like to make it easier for the screen size to change, but at the same time, I think there's something else going on that they could have, I don't know. What the fuck do I know? I'll take a break in a second here. Okay, diplomacy. Word war. Declare war. All right, this looks right, except that we probably don't want to use true and false. Who gives a shit right now? We're going to redo this whole thing later. Let's re-import this. I've noticed that I give less shits about things as that I know that we're going to redo later. Like before, I was, you know, it would still look like shit. Oh, we can't do this. Still look like shit, but it needed to get, you know, I put some effort into it right now, though. It's got to just work because we are going to redo this whole matrix. Though we need it to work now so we can do the other part. Diplomacy. All right, that looks much better. This should probably be underlined or some shit. See, okay, no. What we wanted... So we're going to have these sort. These buttons don't do anything. What is this margin container? Get the fuck out of here. I think that margin container was on top of it. See, that would have taken me forever too. I'd have just been in agony the whole time. Like, why can't you click on any of this shit? Yeah, that margin container is on top of it. So these are all going to be um, the ability to sort, right? But right now they're not going to do anything. They should definitely be underlined, though. I mean, I don't think we should bother disabling them. Once again, this is all going to change. I don't think I can underline these easily. I think you got to, like, do something fucking crazy to make this underline. Flat, align. I don't remember. Are they centered? They're definitely 100% centered. Let's see here. Godot underline button text. To underline this AI thing that Google does, man, it's bad. Let's see how it does today. I use it all the time in my work, and it's wrong like 90% of the time. To underline text with a button, the most direct method is to use a link button node instead of a standard button. What the fuck is a link button? At a link button node, set the text as an underlined mode property. For a regular button, use a rich text label inside the button. Fuck you. No, that's probably what we'll do. Let's look at what a link button is, because I've never heard of that before. What does it look like? A link button. The base button, a button that represents a link. A button that represents a link, this type of button is primarily used for interaction that cause a context change, like links to a web page. Maybe this is what we want. What is it? What does the text look like? Oh. I know these motherfuckers. I'm going to have to... I mean, that looks fine, but look, man. This no longer looks like a button. And it has a URL. Nah, fuck you. We'll just use the rich text thing. Don't make it simple for me. Add a rich... Don't do it. Go back up here. Cut you. Where's my underline, motherfucker? Well, let's go back where we can see this thing. Oh, yeah, that looks great. That's exactly what... Oh, look, it has a little scroll thing on it. That's also... Scroll active. No, get the fuck out of here. We want you to fit inside the fucking button, man. Let's see here. Word faction. Yes. We can have you go like that. And then we can go to center, fit, scroll, follow, auto wrap, tab size, context. This is going to fuck me somehow at some point. Man, I don't know why it always defaults the top too. I actually watched some tutorial video and the guy was complaining about the defaults for click through and stuff, like why it defaulted certain stuff. He's like, you always have to change this. It's weird. Anyways, so we have the word faction there. We're going to be changing that. It means that we're going to have to get and that's going to be a pain in my ass, but who cares? We're already getting child elsewhere. We probably could even get child, and just fuck the button. We might need the button. No, we'll need the button later. So how do I underline this thing? This worked. This AI thing worked. A lot of times it's just... But can I just click something? Can I just click something that allows an underline? just makes it underline. How did I do those other underlines? Selection enabled. That's kind of interesting. I wonder if that means that like people can drag and select it, or what does that mean? It looks like we might have to code it in. Not the end of the world. Kind of the end of the world. Kind of a pain in my ass. I wonder if. I bet you I can. Go back to this thing. I bet you I can do this with a. See, this is some website bullshit. Not here. And I'm gonna take a break after we put this in here. We need that little slash at the front. Holy fuck, is that it? That's it? That's the underline you're giving me? Can we make it bold? Just the line? All right, whatever. It's good enough. I literally was just saying I don't care about certain stuff, and then I'm over here dicking around with underlines. Like, what's the world coming to? Oh, you know the other thing that I notice with websites is a lot of times if you misclick, you can just keep holding down the button and move your, like if you misclick on a button, if you misclick, this is a button right here. We'll do it up here. So I've clicked on research, but I'm holding down the button because I actually wanted to click on diplomacy, let's say. Then you can just move your mouse off and then let up and it doesn't fire the button, right? And that works on websites most of the time. Lately, though, I've noticed you click it and now you're dragging the fucking thing around. And it's like, who came up with that idea? This happens on here all the time. On this part of Google. Okay, so let's look at this. That looks awful. Also, it did not translate it because I put the underline thing in there. Motherfucker. What a pain in my ass. Okay, is there another way to do this? Can I do this with a click of a button? I swear. It was like theme override or something. Underline size. That would help that little thing. Background normal. I don't want to do like a whole, though I could have one. There might be one saved somewhere. I don't want to do a whole like style box and all that shit. Rich text label underline. Use the tags. But I want to translate it. I wonder if I can throw in here. I'm assuming this is not going to work. But I wonder if I can do that. Because it'd be nice to not have to set that in code since I'm setting it right there. All right, then I'm going to take a break. No, I cannot do that. All right, I'm going to take a break. I'll be back in less 5 minutes. Let me throw up my break timer. Let me do this. Stop my music, guys can't hear, and I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. You know, it just dawned on me. I haven't been keeping up on the pirate software controversy. Is there anything going on with that, or did that finally it just died on its own? As things do, people just lose interest in stuff. There's too much shit going on the internet. All right, so how are we gonna fix this? I guess we'll just have to code this shit in because why not, right? Let's Google one last time. With translation, it's gonna say put in the code. No, plus? What does this person say? How did I do these underlines before? I think I did like a new style box or some shit. Do you see the English text without BB format or no text at all? Anyways, the first value you see is supposed to be a key. Oh yeah, you can put this into, I closed it. You can put that into here. I didn't need to bring that over. So it's always underlined. We could do that. I think that might be yeah, so here I did it before. Medical. Yeah, that's how I did it last time. I can't remember if I this one can't be underlined though. This one can. Let's do, which one were we doing? Faction. Is that what we were doing? Yeah, so this would be U/U. And then if we go back over to here and get rid of this crap. Did I turn my break timer? I did. And then we have to re-import this thing. We can't have it open because why? Re-import. And then we run it. And then we look at it. Deploy. There's a slash in there. Did I have a slash in there? That kind of worked. Is there a typo with a slash? Jesus Christ. Oh, this is on the outside. So that worked. What's the deal with this other one? Oh, that's going to make that underline. What a huge pain in my ass just to get an underline. There's got to be an easier fucking way to do this. Because I don't want that one. To make rich and strike through. That's interesting that that would push that up like that. What does the documentation say? I often wonder what if the developers use Godot. The developers of Godot, what do they make? Just like basic side scrollers? All right, this is gonna take too long. Let's do this. We'll just code it in, I guess. Yeah, go back to here, because then we're gonna have to put this U and shit on everything. Let's just put this. We'll just say fuck it. Fuck it is what we will say. Let's rerun it. It really needs an underline, but we'll do that later. We'll deal with it. When I look at it, 6 months from now, I'll be like, maybe it needs an underline, maybe it doesn't. Oh, I didn't re-import it. Save, close, re-import. Play. Yeah, it's definitely worth doing the translations ahead of time. Or while you do it, I mean, not. All right, so that works. Now we have nothing in faction because we have nothing there. All right, this is good enough for now. Did I click disable on that one? Oh, it's because of the rich text thing. That doesn't need to be reached. We'll just go back. We'll just go back to how it was, and we'll deal with it later when we rearrange the whole thing. Let's not worry about this shit. We do want this disabled though, so we might as well just click these off while we're here. All right, one last run. Got to skip whatever this song is that you guys can't hear. Diplomacy. That looks terrible. All right, we will unclick. Here, we can do it this. Oh, now I'm listening to country music. Okay. One last run, and then we will just make this shit work. So we have a war, yeah, declare war control. See it over here? We can link this over to that. Yeah, we'll just leave this for now. We'll fix this up later. Once again, we're gonna have to fix this false thing. We're gonna have to fix everything. So right now we just need to be able to declare war. And so to link this, we're gonna have to pass some information through. So let's go back to our diplomacy control. We have all this stuff. We have this key value pair. We need to open up this thing. And we probably should stick in here. How does this even work? I don't think, how did it work when we were doing these declarations of war? What does this script say? Yes button does all this stuff. We can generate a new war. So this was like a good idea when I started this new war thing, but then I didn't really use it very well. We'll put this back out because we're going to move this. So you click this. How does it know what faction we're even doing? Okay, so it's where we right-clicked. That's not going to work anymore. All right, so let's do this. So we click on the yes button. Not here. You're going to come over here. We click on that button, which is, we don't have a signal connected, so we should connect war buttons here. So we connect the war buttons. War button signals. And so each one of these we're going to need to pass in the button. We're going to need to pass in this button, and we're going to say a button in here. We're also going to need the faction data. So we might So let's do that first. This thing is going to need to know what faction. We can do a public int faction ID. Who is the recipient of a war? Recipient of a declaration of war. See this thing? What the fuck is this? This pops up all the time. There's no recipient. Eat my nuts. About declaration. I want, like, who is the person? No, it's not a person. Who is what is it called for the faction that is getting declared war on? And block your dumb shit. In persistent storage, you mean you're gonna fill up my computer with garbage? Defending faction, the target faction, all that for the word target. Target faction. ID. Why are you? No. Okay, so when we go through, it's kind of a pain. Actually, let's make this faction data. Whoops. Data. And we'll do faction data, because I don't want to get it twice. We're going to have to get it anyways right here. From this key value pair. The other problem with having this as a string, it'd really be easier with an int, because then we could pull it straight from the thing, from the list of factions. As a string, we have to for each through the whole fucking thing. The whole list of every faction. And at the beginning, you know, we only have 3 other factions besides the player faction. It's not that big of a deal. But we are going to have hundreds of factions at the beginning. They'll die off slowly when we have the full game. What's a dictionary with 3 things? We could. What was this? I noticed there's a public class in that war thing. Maybe we can use that war thing. Where was it? It's this. What does this war public class give us? Would you stop? Whoa, nothing. How would we do that? We're gonna have to save that shit too. So we can, because I'm trying to think of it. So it's the problem with using an int there is that it's hard for a human to figure out what's going on. And we already do it in one place and it actually works well. But then when you're a human trying to figure out where your heroes are, to look at the code, it's very confusing. Do we have like we can, so what I'm thinking is we have a diplomacy matrix public class that we use for this that has the faction name as a string. It's going to fuck shit up later. We'll just have to deal with the fucking shit up later. What the fuck am I looking for? Scripts, DTOs, public classes, diplomacy. What does this thing got? Declare war. Should this be dependency injection? What? Declare war confirmation. I don't know what I was doing here. We might have to rewrite that whole thing. So what we can do... So it wouldn't be a dictionary then? Let's try to think about this. So this, because we are going to expand greatly on this, so we could put a public class or we can do a resource, one or the other. Probably we'll go with public classes, just fuck it, right? We're not going to be generating any of those ahead of time. They're going to be generated all with code, so that makes life easier. The reason why I like resources, you can fuck with them in the inspector, but they have all sorts of other problems built in. So let's go back and would it be a dictionary or list? So we have a list. We could have a dictionary with like their name. We could have a dictionary with their faction ID. We can have a dictionary with, we can make the list match their faction ID. How do we generate that? We create that in faction generation. So I think we're definitely going to need like a diplomacy matrix public class. I think we're definitely going to need that. And we could store in there their name, their faction ID, but now we're like duplicating stuff. We also could make it a list of faction. So let's go look at this diplomacy thing. I know it's only 3 things right now, but in the future, we're going to have like a number that's in there that's like how much they like you. We're going to have various options for treaties and things. So this is going to get quite complicated, and especially because I really want to have diplomacy very much an important part of the game. I feel like most strategy games, diplomacy is very like Total War. Man, you just go through the list and you click, like make them happier on everybody, and it's just tedious and dumb. And then Victoria 3, you're constantly going into that improve relations thing and clicking that. EU 4, same thing. So this is pulling it from that matrix. That matrix has separate information. I think we definitely need a public class for the diplomacy matrix, but do we want to have their faction name, faction ID, war? Yeah, I think that's what we'll do for now. So we'll have this thing probably should be renamed, but we'll do a new public class. But once again, if we change the name of the faction, we'll have to regenerate. We'll have to regenerate a bunch of shit. We'll deal with that later. Diplomacy matrix. And then we're going to need namespace. And then this has got to go. This has got to go. And then we're going to need a public. God damn, I'm going to need a constructor. Then we're going to need a public int faction ID with a little d. We're going to need public string faction name. We're going to need a public bool at war. Then back to, do we want to make this a list or a dictionary? I used to love dictionaries. Dictionary lists. That was we could do a dictionary. No, we don't need a dictionary list. We could do. I think we should do a dictionary. By faction ID. We'll just make it so the faction ID matches the list. Diplomacy matrix faction. No, we'll just leave it diplomacy matrix. My love of renaming things will happen eventually. So then back to our faction. We're going to break some stuff, of course. Our faction data here. Faction war dictionary. This is going to be a list. Lists are ordered. We'll use a C# list because we don't need it. Do we need to be able to see it in the... Not really. I was going to say, do we need to see it... in the inspector, but we don't really because we can actually look at it on the screen. This will be faction war, we'll call it diplomacy matrices. Yeah. I like that. Diplomacy matrices. What's your fucking problem? You can go away. That's probably your fucking problem right there. This can go away because we can't see it in the inspector. So off you go. Okay, we have now caused a bunch of problems. 10 issues. This is a public class now. I think we can save this. Oh man, that I don't know if you're still around Single Wings, but we were looking at the last time. I don't know if you were around last time when we were looking at that, but the save game is so fucking crazy long. It was like 11,000 lines. It's because it's JSON, I'm assuming. I mean, and we even cut out a huge chunk of it. And it was like, that just seems like such an obscene amount of save data, but I guess that's just the beginning. We're not even, yeah, it's going to be crazy. So for this save, this is what, 2 DTO, we need to save, we need to convert, this is a list for, what is this? Oh, we have a war DTO, but wars are, I thought wars were a public class. Why do we have to have a DTO for a public class? I thought that was one of the reasons. For this, so this is going to go away. We definitely, okay, we'll have ChatGPT do this for us, but I think what does the war DTO look like? From DTO is never used? Well, that's a problem we're going to run into. Where's our thing I was just looking at? I'm going to ask it. War is a public class. Back over to here. Oh, we could do a reflection too, if we have to do it DTO. But I feel like one of the points was it's all simple. Reflection copy. What is this one? What were we talking about in this one? Oh yeah, that's a different thing. Save game serialization fix. What does this thing say? Hero subordinates. We have their population ID and their name. Save game data explanation. Save resource to, okay, this one should probably be. This is a public class with all simple Variables. Do we really need a DTO? If your work class is a plain public class with simple variables, then you don't need it. All you need is for JSON serialization. Your class has no node resource or reference. You can just serialize the class directly. Wait, what? That's what the DTO is doing? Why is my memory such dog shit? So this will serialize it. So let's do that with this for each it's at the top. What did we just call that shit? Diplomacy matrices. For each diplomacy matrix, for each diplomacy matrix in diplomacy matrices, that means we need to go back to this though and change these to capitals and a getter setter or whatever they're called. Get set. And then this is all very, there we go. What is your problem now? It's never instantiated. Perfect. Because we're going to do that when we... said, how's it going? Stingle Weeks was by earlier. How's life? We got to go back to this thing, though. Not there. We got to go to our faction data. And what did this thing to say? We don't need to do this. What was I talking about? Going to school? What, like college or? You don't like school? For each matrix, in diplomacy matrix, we have to do I like some of my classes in college, and I often mention this. I love school up until like junior high. That's when I stopped liking school because I was a nerd. And then college was pretty. I think it was like my first day of college. Some woman hit on me, and I was like, "Whoa." She was like, "Do you want to go listen to some music sometime?" And I was just like, "Whoa." What the fuck is this? Exactly. What the fuck is this? So I don't like to. So I'm always on time. I think it's because my parents are always late to everything. They're way too laid back about stuff. They'll be like, it takes an hour to get somewhere, and they'll be like, it takes 45 minutes, and then there's traffic, so then we're 45 minutes late everywhere, and it's stresses me the fuck out. So I'm always on time for everything. So my first day of college, I went to every class ahead of time just to see where it was, so I knew how long it would take to get from class to class and stuff. So I didn't go into the class, but I just went to see its location, except one of the classes I took was a radio class, like a college radio, and you would be at a classroom, but then there was also a college radio. So I went to the college radio, and it was just like you could go in there, and I just went in. Yeah, exactly. A mental map of where shit is. I'd never been to that college, so um, I went into the college radio, and there's just some chick who worked there, and she totally hit on me. I ended up dating her sister, and she fucking flipped out. She flipped the fuck out. She was unhappy with that. Very unhappy with that. And her sister's name has the same name as my sister, so it was very weird. And so it didn't last long. But yeah, she was not happy with that. But yeah, no, it was a very, yeah. Em said so. No, yeah, college or some other school. All right. So how the fuck do I do this? I don't remember how to do this at all. So 2DTO, faction 2DTO. We have the faction. This faction thing. I feel like I just like my brain is not clicking here. We need to go through each one of these. They don't need to be serialized. But we can't just save the list. Like, can we? Do I not have an example of for each county improvement faction DTO? Oh, we need to convert. I don't remember how to do this. So for this thing, when in faction data to DTO, how do we do it? You're asking what to do inside for your deployment. The answer depends on like your war example. It is. Then you don't need to just add them directly. Okay. We just need this line. Man. Whoa. Sometimes my Control C does not work, and I haven't figured out what the deal is. Faction DTO needs to have this added. I was thinking maybe we convert this to the reflection thing now. These are all basic, or all simple. These are all simple. Because otherwise we have to do this shit every time. I don't remember where this was. In fact, though, the old one. Oh, I put this at the very bottom. Yeah, so see all of these. So we need to put this, I guess, in faction. No, what is it called? Diplomacy. Fucking A, it's right here. Diplomacy matrices. What is your problem? Okay, it's never updated. Diplomacy matrices equals. Yes. We need a comma here. You don't exist, though. This needs to be added to this thing. Diplomacy. Okay. This is no longer what this is, though. This is a list of... I feel like I'm doing something wrong here. Do we have another list? Strings. These are DTOs. Because this needs to be saved. So yeah, I guess that's right. I feel like I'm duplicating my work, and I probably am. Where were we? Faction data. So then back down to this bug. This can go. And then from DTO, we can't, oh, this isn't simple. We can't convert these with the reflection thing. I must call it a reflex. So this is going to be the opposite. So we'll cut this, put this here, equals, and diplomacy matrices. So we're trying to convert this back into this. And this actually, no, we need this down here. We're going to need to go from it. Because we're reading it back from, I'm looking at all these, we're going to have to like go through these again. There's probably a red one. Yep, here it is. We need to go, we have a new list. Faction dictionary. I think I just deleted that, didn't I? Where is the, I guess it's down here. We're just creating this faction dictionary. Faction data war dictionary equals a new Godot thing, and then we just apply these. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do these. We're gonna do a new list. Why can't we not do that? Up in that other spot. Why couldn't we do that? Then we're gonna go for each. I feel like this is overkill as well. What does this thing say? It's not a Godot, it's a public class. And diplomacy matrix is a public class. How do we do the from DTO for faction data as well? I need one of those epiphany moments where I go, oh yeah, this all makes sense now. I haven't had that yet with these DTO bullshit. I'm just kind of like copying and pasting crap. We have this to DTO. We just add it to the DTO, which I think we already did. It's just putting in a name there, which is fine. From DTO, we have this name DTO, and we add for each DTO matrix, because it's pulling the DTO from disk. That's where it's getting this DTO, and then we're converting this back. So let's copy this over, just this part. So I can look at it. So it's not even saying, it's just saying for each, look at this thing's all commented out. That's great. For each This thing is, we can actually copy this, put this here. What? No, put it here, and then delete these extra ones that I just accidentally. And then we'll cut this. We'll put, wait, what did I just do? I just recreated the whole thing, but weird. KD. Okay, no, that didn't work. For each, get all this extra crap out of here. KD. What is going on there? Do we have an extra? Get out of here. KD. Okay, that's not working. I want this to move over. Oh, it's because of this error. Okay. This is not called DTO. What is it? This is called faction DTO. And then where this is called faction data. That cannot resolve symbol diplomacy matrices. What did I call that thing? I thought that's what I called that. Oh, it's a lowercase. Of course. Give me back to my bug here. Fine. No, that's what we. Oh. Okay. Get this thing the fuck out of here. You get out of here too. KD. What is going on with my control KD not working? Control DK? No. It's like my control K D. What has happened? Am I forgetting the hotkey? I press it like 600 times a day. Control K, Control D. That's just copying. Control K, D? No. Control K, D? What the fuck? What is wrong with my brain? Control K, D. Is that what I want? What does it do? What does it do? Format the entire document. I'm doing it right. Control K, D. Control K, D. Control K, D. Control K, Control D. I'm getting duplicates instead, which is Control D. Yeah, it's duplicating. What the fuck? We don't need this thing anymore. There's something else. This happened one other time where like my hotkeys got weird and I had to like just restart. I don't know. Control K, Control no. Control K, Control D. It's duplicating. I don't know. Maybe my fingers are also have. Usually, yeah, it puts. It opens up another thing, whatever, in the background that you can't see. So we have that working. There's no errors there. Let's go to our next thing. So what are we doing with this thing? Add faction to diplomacy war. This is a faction generation. So for each faction data, war faction in all faction data. See, this also needs like a Control K and a Control. What the fuck? Yeah, neither of these things. I'm gonna close this and open it again. Yes. I feel like my fingers have just stopped working and I'm doing it wrong all of a sudden, but I push that like 16 times a day. 16 times an hour. Plugin updates installed. So I can, whoops. I shouldn't just be like, all right, there, now we're back. It was just busted. Let's go to this error. Was this the, no, well, this is one of them. No, this is what we were just doing. We're gonna come back to that. We got to get the. Oh, Jesus Christ! Click the right stuff. Okay. Add faction to diplomacy war. So this is going through where this doesn't is war faction. We're passing in a faction data. Where are we doing that? It's probably the player faction. Oh, no. Okay, I see what we're doing. So we're gonna keep this. We're making this dictionary or whatever of go back to here. We're making this dictionary so every faction gets this. So this is passing in the faction, and it's doing this. This actually will work. But we're gonna create. It's no longer a dictionary. Doesn't this seem like this needs a control K and a control D? It did not. Okay, so it's going to pass in the faction. And then it goes through every faction there. This is going to take a long time. This is going to be called Matrix Diplomacy Matrices. And this is going to, we're going to go war faction data. So we're going to go, can we do this like dot, fuck my fingers, dot add, new, I forget how to do this. It's like I forgot how to program. Equals a new, no, we want to add a new diplomacy matrix, but inside here we want to set things. So the first thing in the diplomacy matrix, you're not gonna tell me, is I feel like it usually tells me. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Where is this? So faction ID, faction name, at war. So faction data dot faction ID, yes, false. This is what we want, except this is wrong. What is your problem? Oh, we don't have a constructor. Didn't I mention a constructor earlier? I was like, God damn it, we have to do a constructor. I think you can do control period. No. Alt period. No. Shift period. No. Somebody on YouTube did a comment, told me what the hotkey was. Space period. No. Alt period. No. It's something with a period. Generate a constructor. There's a, what's the hotkey? This is called writer hotkey for generate constructor. Alt insert. Place the caret within the class sticker where you generate the constructor. Alt insert. That doesn't, maybe that was a, no, that's home. I need to see like an eye doctor. Select. My fucking eyes are getting blurry for close range shit. Why would you put it at the top? Yeah, I'm going to it. So I've been having a ringing in my left ear because back to that fucking guy who worked on my house. It's been going on for a while now. So I finally got it. It was like 2 months I had to get an appointment with an ear doctor. So now, well, and I was like, God damn it, I should do the eye doctor appointment at the same time. Of course, they're not gonna let me go to like the ear doctor, then the eye doctor. It's gonna be on different days because our healthcare system's dog shit. Um, but I also just didn't want to do that many visits, so I put it off. But I really should. I should go to the eye doctor. I really got to do it. Basically, long story short is I gotta stop fucking around and do it. What is your problem? Convert into primary constructor. You know, it tells me to do this all the time. Let's do it and see what happens. So what happens if this thing is like that? It tells me, the writer tells me to do this all the time. So let's just do it. And then let's see, we'll deal with the repercussions when I'm like, why the fuck doesn't this work? So we're on faction generation. That works. You would think an doctor would just add ear. Well then they're like, yeah, you need to see what the fuck is an ear doctor? Not an oncologist? I don't know, whatever they're called. And then they're also, you also need to see your primary care. And they should add everything. But I guess, anyways, so I have 2 appointments, and it's like, if the ear doctor can't figure out the issue, which I know it's tendonitis or whatever it's called, why would my primary care? So I have 2 appointments. One of them's going to be a total waste of my time. Of course, they got to charge me a copay or whatever to go in there. It's like $50 or something. What the fuck am I doing? All right, so this is going to go through and add these things in. We're in faction generation. What does this thing do? Move selected token. We're going to come back to that one because that's why we're doing this. Yeah, one time I hadn't been to the doctor in a long time, and for years I didn't have health insurance. I finally had health insurance, and I was like, I had all these minor issues, and so I scheduled, like my knees hurt and stuff. It just getting old was the problem, but I scheduled an appointment with my primary care doctor or whatever, and we're gonna go through. I want to get these other parts like this done first. But anyways, so then I went in there and I started listing off my problems, and the person was like, yeah, we don't have time to look at all those. Pick the top 2. And I was just like, fuck you. It took months to get this appointment. Fuck you. And then I had surgery on my face. I was streaming back then. I don't remember if you guys remember that. Anyways, I was talking to the nurse, and they had just went on strike, and they had just stopped being on strike when I literally had an appointment and they happened to go on strike. Then they moved my appointment to when they got back. So it was like, I asked them, like, what did you guys get out of the strike? And they were like, we only got a 3% raise. At the time, I had just gotten a raise at my work, and I had looked at all of the inflation and price shit. So I had that on like the type, because I had to write like what raise I wanted at my work. And 3%, they actually lost money because of inflation and stuff. So they went on strike, and then they agreed to a shitty raise. Fucking outrageous. They should have just stayed on strike forever. 3% is like, you're literally losing money if you were to do that. If you were to accept a 3% raise. So now, since we're talking about inflation, I looked at my groceries, just the chips I bought, and in February, between February and now, the chips I buy, one bag of chips went up 10%, and the other bag went up 12%. So that was this year, which this is a couple of years ago. But if you were to take a 3% raise now, you would be losing a huge chunk of money if you were buying chips, which I assume most people want to buy chips. I'm not buying the fancy chips either. I'm just buying like Lay's shit chips. All right, I'm going to go. I am going to go take a quick break. There's my break timer. Let me pause my music, and I will be back in less than 5 minutes. All right, I'm back. And let me start my music. Let me look at this thing. Let me look at this thing. Let me turn off my break timer. Yeah, since we're talking about inflation, which is such an exciting topic, one of my coworkers was like, "Well, when inflation goes down, though, your your money will come back. You'll get more money because of your raise. I'm like, motherfucker, you think inflation's gonna, when it goes down, they lower the prices? That's not how it works. Inflation has always exist. There's no deflation. Code too slow. Yeah, right. 3%. I think there's probably some other things I could rewrite for 3% increase. Probably this thing right here. For each diplomacy matrix. So we're going to go through this. We're going to instantiate this thing. Man, I needed your earlier, Joker, for underlining something, but I just gave up. I just said, I don't want to do it anymore. Diplomacy matrix. Faction name. This is going to be... I just said, fuck it. We're not doing an underline. I don't care. At war. Yeah, I wanted something to underline. I wanted this to be underlined, but it was too much of a pain in the ass. Why isn't there a checkbox somewhere? Is there a checkbox somewhere? Then this is going to be this. And then we'll save that. And then we got to do the real things here. So we have, well, okay, the diplomacy control still has an issue. Okay, this is where we were just writing when we had to redo everything. So let's comment this out, temporary. Yeah, it doesn't work with translating though. So then you got to put that in the translation, but then that translates the word faction. So this would get underlined, even though I wanted it just this underlined. So then I would have to have a different fucking word that's underlined. And oh my God, it's just such a pain in the ass. We'll comment this out temporarily. We're going to come back to this. Well, then, yeah, then you got to do it in code. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Why isn't there just a button that I can click? Okay, so what is it? Speaking of clicking buttons. So this is going to be when we move. So what step are we on here? We got a lot of embedded and buried shit. Yeah, in the code. Yeah, you got to do that. Oh my God, I got to skip this song. Oh, I'm back to that bad song. All right, let's switch it up. I guess this. Okay. We're back here. Good. All right, so what is this? If the token is not moving. Is this an army? So this is our first problem. This is why I was waiting for this. We're not using armies anymore. So we need to go. We need to make another major change here. We need to go to this population data, and we need to delete. I don't know what this is anymore, so we're going to get rid of that. I'm just making sure there's not anything else here. Okay, so we're gonna go, where is army or army status hero type? What type of enums are in here? Hero type. Okay, so army leader is gonna go, and those are gonna go. That's me casting the spell of show me the bugs. So then back We're going to keep hero type because we need to know if it's a faction leader. Yeah, so we need that. This is back. We need to go to a different error. We need to get these other errors here. Okay, so this is faction army leader. I think we had a different icon for this. Army leader text rec. Yeah. All signal arguments are emitted as variants. I still am confused by the variant thing. This is gonna go. We have a switch with two things now. Okay, it's fine. I don't know. I don't use it enough, so every time I run into it, I'm like, what is it talking about? A variant? Okay, what is this? If hero type equals faction leader. Yes, but it thinks you're trying to hire an army leader. Army leader recruited is getting popular. The problem is that it's going to be hard to test all these changes. I guess I just don't understand what a variant is when they're compared to Godot, and sometimes it says this has to be a variant, but then it works with C# stuff, and then other times it doesn't. So I haven't like read enough about it. Okay, so this I put in here the other day so that we just in case we were clicking. So let's leave that here, and we'll get rid of this, and we'll get rid of this. Yes. We're going to really need to go through this very carefully, though, after we can test it. So is this an army? Get the fuck out of here. It has 8 uses. You know what we should change it to is like, are you at war or something? What are these cases? I don't know. Get them out of here. Get them the fuck out of here. So what we're going to check, instead of is it an army, we're going to check, are you at war all the time? So this is the first thing. We need this probably. We have that diplomacy public class. I don't know what this even means. We'll get rid of that. Declare war confirmation, respond to war, populations, check for armies. We're going to, at the top, we're going to say public void. Fingers are not working at all. So are you doing a bunch of C++ tutorials now? Is faction at war? And we're going to probably need to pass in a faction. How are we going to do this? This can probably be static is what this is telling me. Yeah. Whoa. Okay, we won't fuck with that then. Is faction at war? Public static void. I think we're going to pass in. I feel like we need to pass in 2 factions. Like one faction versus the other faction. If we didn't make this static, no, we need to pass in 2 factions. Faction data. faction data. What are you going to suggest as other faction data? Variance can be any data type. So when you receive one, you can check if it. So it's like the T thing in C#. If it's a string and then the start converted to string, and C# the close converter would be the object. If the object contains a valuable string, you can convert it to one. I looked at a bit yesterday, just confirmed the variant thing, but haven't looked into much. But maybe at some point. Back to this C++ thing. Do you get a lot of comments about this C++? Is that what was inspiring you to? So how are we going to do this? So we're going to go for each. No, we know the faction ID because we're going to do it from the faction ID. So we're going to go. So we're going to go if faction data dot matrices other faction data dot faction ID. We're gonna make it match. At war is equal to true. No, we can do that thing where we return the whatever. We just return. This is gonna be a bool. And then we can just do return. See, I've learned things. Only like 2 things, but I think we can just do that. So we pass in the 2 factions. This is the thing. When I write things like this, I sometimes go, well, but I could just check this. You know what I mean? Like I could just check this. But I guess you're not supposed to do that? I don't fucking know. I have a comment a year or 2 ago at some point, or as something for videos that they want to learn. I was like, what's S++? You know, at this point, there's like, I'm sure there's like an F plus a D. Maybe they skipped D. All right, skip the D. Okay, so this is going to be, we have this attached to a population data. What is this thing? Check for hero location and faction. Handle activity-based UI. This is something that I did not write. That's not what, I have something on my clipboard is why I can't control X that. Secondary activities box. Oh. That's not gonna. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out a different way of doing this. To do. Figure out a way to have the player show the second activity box now that there are no armies. So we're going to do this for now. This used to have a check for if there was, if the population was an army. Okay. So we're making this much more difficult on the coder, which I guess is me. Check to show if the army recruitment button is active. It will be disabled if it is in counties that the player doesn't own. This was simplification. This was a simplification written by ChatGPT. Okay, so for this, you can't recruit if you're in another. If the population is already in aid, the player has already paid for the aid, and they can make it an army leader. You know what we also could do to make this even more fucked is we could delete Doge Sharp. What is it for Dogecoin? Oh my god. All right, let's go back to our population description panel. Somewhere buried in here. Oh, I might have already deleted it. Recruit. Here it is. Okay. Yeah, this is all going to be all sorts of fucked up. Army leader recruit button disabled equals false. This can just go. It doesn't exist. What is this? If the token is moving, then it can't become an army. Well, it can't become an army ever. So that can go away. If this is just a normal population, that seems like something I wrote. If population data.hero type is equal to none, and we have enough influence, army leader recruit button is turned on. We don't have that anymore. We don't have an army recruit button. What is it? Can we just delete this? We just delete this whole fucking thing. Fuck you, you're gone. You too. Okay, that's gone. This can go away. Doge Sharp. I want to look at this. So I had a coworker who called it doggy, right? And I knew it was called Doge, and I called it Doge, and then I was talking to some crypto dudes, and I called it doggy. It just came out. I looked like a fool. Yeah, because he saw the picture of the dog, and so he thought it was like doggy coin. Huge disclaimer, I have no idea what I'm doing and definitely shouldn't write languages. When was this laugh? 11 years ago! That's probably when Dogecoin came out. Who is this dude? Look at all these forks and shit. Whoops, that's not what I want. I wanted this dude. Who is this dude? Return string? He looks like someone who would be into Dogecoin. He does stuff. Crystal is often looking at people's GitHub, and now I look at their GitHub more too and see what, like, it's kind of interesting. To look at what they have public and what. A little more, yeah. Earlier I was like, I haven't been following the pirate stuff. Is there stuff still going on, or did it just kind of fall off the face? Apache, a set of tools for writing servers that speak Postgres SQL wire protocol. Recovering game developer. Look at, he has a thing. Oh, I don't like this. What is this? Meet Fiero, the no-code game engine built for those who live to create, not just code. Test 2D gameplay without writing a single line of code and bring your vision to game. Why have I never heard of this? I mean, I'm not going to use it, but why have I never heard of this? Book a demo. Who is this them? I mean, is this that dude? His 6-month coin? Does he have a coin? What's this start for free? Oh, I gotta register. What games? Here's a game. Play it in the browser. This is the best engine I've ever used for creating fast and fun games. Why do so many sites do this now, too, where it opens a new window or a new tab? I wanted to play the game. Case studies. How Tech Compinso used satire, speed, and side-scrolling chaos to... Was there an itch widget pricing? This is very bright on my eyes. I forget who was talking about that the other day. The dark mode. This is... I will build... Oh, this is on Fiverr. I will build a custom pixel art dash game to promote your brand for $1,000. 14 days. It's an interesting way to use your... this is Joker. Here you go. You want to make some money? 14 days to make a game for $1,000 for every brand. I wonder how many of these have been purchased. What brand does he sell? What brand would this be for? It's very bright on my eyes. Yeah, no, that's very basic, but what? Oh, I closed it. I guess I could open it again. History, I don't even know how I got there. Services. For $1,500, you get the game file plus engine onboarding. You get the game, the source file. So you get the source and 2 hours of one-on-one onboarding with a bonus, an extra enemy type. You get 3 levels, 3 plugins, whatever that means, design, animation. And then you get 2 levels, 2 plugins. This is a very niche. Hey, look, it says he respawns in an hour. It's crazy. I would like to see a game. Yeah, those are the people. How weird that they have the picture. I guess that's the thing. You gotta be. Let's build our own. Have you ever heard of this? Anyone in chat? But Joker. So they teamed up with a university. These guys look Norges. They're Norgish. Yeah, I've never even heard of this. Office Escape. Huh. Weird. I want to play. Okay, wait. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's very basic. I wanted just to play one of the games. So I often hear that codeless game design is for like the first step if you want to learn like the basics of how the logic works, like visual visual game design. But I think that what happens is the minute you want to do something that the engine can't handle, you got to start coding, and so that's where like it's basically so what I've heard is for kids. If it works for somebody, I'm great, but like for kids to learn. What the fuck are we doing here? We're breaking some stuff to make some other stuff work. So for this is Oh, Dungeon Ghost was a thing. A game without code. I mean, it'd be interesting if it's a fun game. It'd be interesting if that took over at some point. Codeless programming. Maybe have like a pop-up blocker on or something. Maybe it's Firefox. So this is if it's an army. Sorry, if it's not an army, we start moving. This no longer applies. Wait. This part no longer applies. What is this checking? Yeah. So RPG Maker is fine to get started, but sooner or later you will be using plugins how to make your own or not have a generic. Yeah, and like one of my friends actually was looking. Someone bought him RPG Maker or one of those Maker. I think it was RPG Maker as a gift because he was always talking about making basically a generic RPG. And so for that, like for him, I think it would have been great because he didn't want to like go out of the box that much. He just wanted to make like a very in-depth RPG. I think that would have worked great. But for the average person, I think they're going to want to throw some changes in there that the engine can't handle. Maybe, without coding it. Okay, so the first thing it's checking, this is no longer called select token either. So maybe we should rename that. Where are we getting this select token thing? I should have clicked on it. We have a bunch of masking. Move selected token. Move token, or move target county data. County node, huh? Wonder why we're using select token equals. You know what? We'll leave that as, because so it actually makes sense that this is called select token here. We don't call it that anymore, but that used to be the name of the script. It would be hero token now, but this is the selected token, so that actually makes sense. If select token movement, so if it's not moving, is not equal to true. Why didn't I go equal to false? Depending on your version, you'd be using Ruby or JS, unless you get the Unity plugin version, then C# for RPG Maker. I don't think he wanted to do any coding. He didn't have any interest in coding. Okay, so then it says if this is an army, if this is not an army, you can just start moving. But so if it's not moving, it's always, there's, yeah, I wonder why I did that not equal to true. Makes me want to change it. I want to change it, but I'm like, why? There's probably a reason. Maybe not. Maybe there isn't a reason. So this is just going to start the move. Then where does it go after this? What does this check? Okay, if it's not moving. All right, I'm going to change this. It's kind of driving me nuts. Okay, what is this doing? Move selected token. So we need to like kind of rewrite this whole thing because I think it's confusing already. So let's just do this. So if the token is not moving, we need to check if it's a play. And so that's what this is. So this is checking to see if it's moving within your own place. So this needs to go up here. So this can go away. We can get rid of this all. So it's checking to see first. I'm going to put some. Is the token moving? Is the token going to the player owned to a player owned county? All right, so if it is, you just start moving. Then we go to this next thing. Control K, Control D. See, it works. If it's not player-owned county, what are we doing here? We're seeing if they're at war. So what we'll do here, though, so if it's going to some other faction thing, we need to see if they're at war. So if diplomacy, I think I did not make this static, though. Where the fuck is it? Got a few things open here. Oh, I did make it static. I was thinking ahead, but then I didn't think I was thinking ahead, so the whole thing was a bust. Player controls. I got too much shit open. You can close. You can close. You probably can't close. Faction generation. Hopefully done with that. Faction that. Where faction population data. All token whatever. You're done. War. I'm pretty sure we're gonna come back to that, but fuck it, right? All right, player controls. If diplomacy dot is faction at war, we need to pass in 2 factions. So we are in the player controls. The only thing we have passed in here is the move target county data. We have the select token, which what is this thing? It's a hero token. Who the fuck knows what's in there? I'm sure there's a faction thing in there somewhere, though. We're going to go select token dot hero. No, what is it? Population data dot faction ID. That's not going to work. We're going to copy this. We're going to cut that. Where did I put that? Get. It's probably under faction data. Get, yeah. And then we're going to put that in there. And then we're going to do comma. And then we're going to go like that. No, then we're passing in a faction data. We're passing in 2 faction datas. What is this? We want 2 faction datas. This is not a faction data. Why, when I hover, it's a county data. Okay. That makes sense, honestly. This is probably, yeah, there's a faction ID here. So we're going to make this, we're going to put this comma down here so that everybody can see this on one line. We're going to go kind of like this. We're going to put this here, and then we're going to go 1, 2 equal to true. No, we don't need that. We're going to go like this. I'm missing something here. We got 1. We got 2. That looks like that's right. If is faction at war. I think we need a 3rd one of these things. We do. Okay, so if is faction at war, it honestly doesn't matter what order you put this in. It's still going to show you, because they're both going to be at war. So you're at war with the person when you're going into, so this one is if you're going into We could do an else if, actually, I think. We'll figure it out in a second. So this is if you're going into your own counties. This is if you're going into your oh no, it doesn't need a buried thing. If you're going into an enemy one, it checks if you're at war now. And instead of checking if you're in an army, it checks if you're at war. So then what the fuck does it do? Then we're going to put this in here. Conflict with the, yeah, well, okay, like, get out of here. We're getting the faction for some reason. We're not declaring war anymore. What is this declare war confirmation? I bet you this is like a pop-up of some sort. Phrase declare war faction name. It's probably saying, are you sure you want to declare war? We're not going to delete that. Where is this thing? This is in diplomacy. We're going to use that elsewhere. So back to our player control. Look at all these red lines. I got 15 minutes. Never going to happen. You're about to... All right, go back up here. I've already thrown off what I was doing. All right, this is somewhat complicated. We just got to make it... And I'm going to make it like if-else's through the whole thing, and then we can make it more confusing later. So if the faction ID equals your player faction, start the move. If it doesn't, then we need to see, are you at war? And if this equals true... What happens once we're at the end of this? It just tells you. It shows the declare war thing. And this is, I'm assuming there's there's no question. Maybe I didn't put the question mark at the end because of the, yeah, I don't know. So because at this point you've already declared war, so I don't think. Basically, what I'm seeing here is we don't need any of these checks. We don't need this. We just start moving. And then I guess when you reach destination is when the battling starts. I mean, wait, so we've made it easier? What was the else over here? Oh, there's a retreating thing. Something else went south over here too. I think we lost we have like a thing here. No, we have too many things over here. So wait. You're not declaring war anymore because you already have. You can move your token into an enemy place regardless. So you can move the guy, your hero can go into a place. Unless like you've been banned. All right, let's do this because that's going to be a diplomacy thing that's going to happen pretty quick that we're going to probably want to add in here. Players can move their hero tokens into other factions' counties unless they have been banned. And if they want to move into an a county they have been banned from, then it offers the declaration of war panel control. Whoops, there's a typo in there. I guess I could have edited it in the other part. I think we should do this in this. Yeah, I should have pushed this to main. How much time do I got left? We didn't test it though. Maybe I'll push it to main first thing. Because this is going to be pretty complicated. We got 10 minutes left. We can't build the game right now, though, so I kind of fucked myself. I should have pushed it to main before we did this stuff. So I guess we'll just hold off that. Because I hate that when how main looks like there's nothing going on for months and months and months. And then... but then there is. Okay, so for right now, let's wrap this shit up. So if it's not moving... we don't care about this. It can just start moving. We don't care about this. We don't care about any of this stuff. Because none of it applies until they get there. We just need to make sure that they're... and then this got an extra. This is the... This else needs to be here. And then there's something about a retreating. Oh, now we probably don't have enough. Yeah. And squigs there. I don't remember what this does, but it seems to work without us fucking with it, so we won't. Okay, respond to declaration of war. So this is when you declare war, which is going to be that button. We're going to have a button. Is this still running? So that's going to be this button. So you're going to click this, and it's going to pop up a couple of things. But there's a response. I think this response to declaration of war. Oh, no, actually it isn't. There's a spot where, yeah, it's right here. Defender spawns armies. So the defender gets all sorts of bonuses where they pull from their local, not bonuses, they're pulling from their local population to set up as defenders. I wonder if we ever did any equipment for them. We probably did not. All right, so we're passing in a war thing, and we have so this is going to be diplomacy matrices. Matrices, and then in here though we're going to put this guy's faction ID. What's your fucking problem? Oh, we need the war in there, and we're gonna rewrite this war thing. I think this stuff should probably after we're gonna rewrite the war thing. Then this is going to be at war equals true. And then this one is going to be a swap. So then the defender is going to get the aggressors. Okay. So this is it's going to set on both of the people. They're going to get set that they're at war. So both of the factions will now know that they're at war with each other. Next, 6 more. So then we're back to something with the token spawner. Oh yeah, we had those separate panels. So we had a panel for heroes and we had a panel for armies. So that's going to change. So what we need is this to go away, and this to go away, and then KD. This is going to go to the hero HBox for that counties thing. There, like I said, there's going to be a lot of errors with this when we get there. Is population first name and army leader? I don't know. Get the fuck out of here. That doesn't exist anymore. Check for defenders. Okay, so this is where it's checking for if you're at war. Check for defenders. So it's saying like, hey, is this person at war? So what we're going to do is we're going to go diplomacy with a capital D. Is faction at war? We need to pass in 2 factions. We're going to pass in the hero faction data, comma. This is where we're right clicking, I'm pretty sure. So if this isn't true and the defenders is false, it's going to raise, they're going to raise their defenders. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this. So this is reached destination. So when the token gets there, it was, so I think this army reached destination is probably commented out somewhere in here. We need to change how this works. So if, check to see if the hero is in a friendly county, and we do that. Didn't we already check that earlier? No, I deleted that shit. So, okay, so if this is okay, so we need to check. This should be diplomacy. Why didn't I do this in the first place, man? This one was a 100% made this more difficult for myself in the past. My past self fucked my current self. God damn it, stop rolling over the cord. So then we need to pass in the destination county's faction ID. So we're going to go, actually this one should come first. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but so we're going to go, we need to get, that was under faction data. Yep. We're going to put that there. We're going to flop this down here. And then we're going to do the same thing. Nope. We're going to do faction. Yep. And then we're going to put this here. I'm glad I wrote that. I'm glad I wrote that. Okay. So if this equals false, then the hero reaches the thing. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to put this back in action. Oh, I deleted it. We're going to rename this. Hero reached neutral county. Neutral? Is that how you spell neutral? I feel like I spelled that wrong. All right, it's going to be a neutral county. It is spelled right. And then hero reached enemy county. Enemy. I wish I hadn't deleted that one hero thing. Maybe it just commented out because I was, aha. Now look, we reparent some shit. This is strange. This is some strange things going on here. We'll put this in here. We'll delete this. and I'm going to forget this. All right, we're going to push the code here. We're going to leave this error here because then I'll remember. So hero reached enemy county. I'm surprised. Check for recruiting. We're adding them to like lists and stuff, but we don't. Where does the war start? Oh, here it is. Army, visiting. Okay, we're getting to reach destination. Yeah. All right, let's push this busted-ass code. 22 files, really? And we added 5? Started converting our hero armies to diplomacy and setting diplomacy. Primitive diplomacy matrix is working for player. Is half. We don't have those buttons doing anything. We didn't have the buttons. We don't have the buttons doing anything because we had to convert all this shit before we do it. Like, for some reason, when I run into stuff like this, it's kind of fun. Like, I know it's a bunch of bullshit that I'm, like, basically, like I was saying earlier, fuck my past self, fuck me, but it's kind of fun because it's a real thing. Like, we're making real changes to the game. Like, where sometimes, you know, we fuck around with, like, for days we'll fuck around, like, how the population goes to work. And it doesn't really feel like a real change. Like, it is a real change, but it doesn't feel like it because, like, sometimes they go to work on a Monday and sometimes they go to work on a Tuesday. That's not really what it does, but that's the feeling. While this, it's like it's a real change. Now we have diplomacy. You have to declare war. Like, there's things. We're getting rid of a thing to make another thing. It's all because I want the red wedding thing, where you can go visit a person and then declare war on them and start stabbing them. And then, but if your relationship starts going down, you know, we're going to have rules where, like, sure, you can send somebody, but they can't walk into your territory with 10 people armed to the teeth. They can walk into your territory with one person or something like that. And so that will make it more dynamic. I want to have, like, a lot, because one of the ways you'll be able to improve relationships is to have somebody there, have a hero there improving their relationships, but they also will act as a spy. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to rate anybody today. Thank you guys for joining me. I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good... Doesn't this look a little weird? Like, that doesn't look centered. Anyways, thank you for joining me. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a good rest of your